Thanks so much and welcome to Morning Live, Mary-Jane.
Thank you, Sakina, and good morning to you and your listeners.
Mary-Jane, let's first start off by taking a look and discussing your specific company's concerns, especially as it pertains to the meal programs at schools.
Thanks, Sakina. Tiger Brands does meal programs at schools, breakfast program through the Tiger Brands Foundation. We are serving breakfast at 103 schools across the country to about 77,000 school kids every school morning. And during the school holidays, for those kids who are really in need, we pull together food hampers that they can take home to ensure that they continue to be fed during the school holidays. Now with this disaster, the closure of the schools happened without, us having gotten our act ready to pull together the food hampers. But together with the school principals and our regional officers, we were able to use the stocks that we had at the schools to pull together the food hampers for those students in need. But as you can imagine, this will only last for a while. It looks like this disaster is going to be with us for quite some time. We'll need to figure out how we get more food to these students. And for this, we require the partnership and working together with the Department of Basic Education so that we can do it still complying with the social distancing requirement as per the President's directive.
And that, of course, is the other concern, the fact that we don't necessarily know how long this will last for. In terms of other solutions that Tiger Brands will be adopting itself, given that this will impact not only on the school programs that you are part and parcel of, but your own workforce and your own operations as a brand and a company.
Yes, I think also let me start first with the impacts on communities. The other program that we have is the community food program, where we provide food to nearly 30,000 community people every day through monthly food hampers that we deliver with through our NGO partners. Fortunately, I'm pleased to announce to report that program will continue. We will continue to get food to those families, so there is no need for them to worry. They will also be supplemented through the community food gardens that are part of the program. For our own employees, we are a food manufacturer. We require our factories to remain open so that we can continue to provide food. The challenge, and this is what we have been working on, is how do we do that while securing the safety and health of our employees? So we've put measures in place to ensure that we've created a safe working environment. We have engaged our employees on an awareness program in terms of what they as individuals need to do, the safe behaviors that they need to adopt to ensure that they and their families remain safe, so that this essential service that they provide, which we are all grateful for, that food can't be produced if they don't turn up at work. So far we have managed to work closely with them, and they are coming to the party. But again, we'll need to engage with government and other partners to ensure that we create an environment where this continues to be possible to do, for the employees to get to work safely, to get back home safely without endangering themselves and their families.
Now, to that point, there is, of course, a concern countrywide and worldwide, one would imagine, of people actually losing their jobs. Now, is Tiger Brands likely to take a look at this point in time to find out what sort of financial strain the company is likely to take, and also what sort of measures Tiger Brands itself will be putting in place? Are you likely to retrench staff or other issues like that? Have those conversations actually come up at all for Tiger Brands? Mary-Jane?
These are conversations. We, of course, are looking at the financial impacts of a protracted disaster, but we haven't gotten to a point where we have made these decisions. And I think I need to say that as a company, we always use retrenchments as a measure of last resort. Would rather engage with our partners, with our employees, to see what other mechanisms and solutions can be put in place to ensure that people's jobs and roles are protected during this time. At this stage, we are not at the place where we are saying we are going to retrench. We are keen to have our employees continuing to produce for as long as we get the raw materials coming in. We will engage with government and with the unions to look at, should it come to that, what other solutions can we put in place before we even go to the thought of looking at retrenchments. In an environment where unemployment rate is sitting at over 27%, the last thing we want to do is actually add to that burden. So hopefully our partners will work together with us to come up with innovative solutions where retrenchment becomes a measure of last resort.
And of course, at a time like this, it's not just about food security, but also about food safety. And I think we all remember the listeriosis outbreak, and Tiger Brands, of course, part of that. And people want to know at this point, are you able to ensure your safe food production at all your facilities as Tiger Brands at this point?
Because of what we had gone through with the listeriosis crisis, we had already upped our food safety protocols. Products are positively released, meaning that before they are released into the market, we make doubly sure that they are safe to go out. So, and we had gone through a process of educating and training our employees. Right now, they are at least well positioned to ensure that we practice high food safety, hygiene, and quality practices.
Mary-Jane, there are, of course, also concerns about retailers and manufacturers who are at this point inflating prices of items that are in high demand. What sort of measures can you place on them in order to make sure that this does not happen? And can you guarantee, if at all, that this will not happen when it comes to any of your brands?
Fortunately, the Minister of DTI helped in that the regulation that was passed last week, where food producers and retailers are warned against price gouging, where there's unnecessary price increases that are not justifiable. Of course, if the pandemic goes on for a long time, the input costs in terms of raw material, the costs of producing might escalate. And the minister recognizes that in that he says that it's okay for price increases to be in line with the increase in our own costs. We cannot as food manufacturers guarantee what retailers, and remember it's not just your formal retailers, but they're in the informal sector, what they charge. What we can control is the price at which we give them our products. And hopefully, as South Africans, during this time, all of us will work together to ensure that we get through this crisis and that we do not use it as and take advantage of a crisis to profiteer where it's not necessary. So I would like to join the minister in appealing to all South Africans to be, kind of diligent in this. The NCC has also set up a hotline for consumers to report any kind of unfair price increases that they may see. So government will help in this instance in that there's some mechanisms to police this.
And just a final question, Mary-Jane. Is there any sort of conversation to be had amongst yourselves in the same industry about basic food prices and the fact that those could perhaps be reduced slightly in the wake of this current disaster situation? In such a business environment as ours that's very competitive, is there any chance that the food industry could actually come together in the best interest of the unemployed, of low-income earners, of families that are in distress, and come up with a sort of beneficial grant, if you like, or a food bank for reasonable short term for people who can actually take advantage of that? Yeah. Is that in any way possible?
With CGCSA, which most of the food manufacturers belong to, that's the body that we engage with. And I think it needs to go beyond just that. We are food manufacturers who are probably do not use 100% of our food manufacturing capacity. There's an opportunity here for us to talk to government to say, bring us the raw materials. We can then produce food for the support of those in need. If you can just imagine, if we are able to get corn and wheat that we can mill on behalf of government that they can use for these food programs for those who are not able to afford or access food during this period. That's something that can be done, but it would require engagement and collaboration between food manufacturers and producers and government, and also coming up with kind of innovative distribution methods in terms of how do we get the food to where it is required and needed.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for your time. Mary-Jane Morifi is Chief Corporate Affairs Officer at Tiger Brands, talking to us about the impact that the coronavirus pandemic has had on food and the food industry, especially for younger generations.